This video is a continuation from our first video on Internet technology, terminology. Next, please turn to page 23. It is about the term HTML structure and HTML presentation. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It has two parts. Number 1 is HTML structure, and number 2 is HTML presentation. First, what is HTML structure? It is the semantics, or content or meaning, that is the structural purpose of the document page or web page itself. It is the most important part in a web page. Second, what is HTML presentation? It is how a document look like, how it is designed, styled, with color effects and incorporating with multimedia elements. Example: sound effect, video clips or animated images. How web page is designed. There are two features existed. Number 1 is the HTML document. This is the actual content of the web page. Number 2 is the cascading style sheet file or CSS file. This is containing everything to control the actual presentation of the web page. What is CSS file? How do you design CSS file? I am going to explain further about CSS file. Number 1. Use tags to define CSS file. Example: let's design 3 different tags of CSS file. H1 open curly bracket color colon hashtag 444400 semicolon. Font family colon Arial comma sans serif semicolon. Text align colon center semicolon. Font size colon 32 pixel close curly bracket. The first tag defined as H1 in the CSS file is to define a font style of Arial and sans serif, with size of 32, align that text to the center and color of dark shade of yellow-green. Next, define another tag of CSS. H3. Open curly bracket color colon hashtag 000040 semicolon. Font family colon serif semicolon. Text align colon justified semicolon. Font size colon 16 pixel close curly bracket. The tag defined as H3 is for any text in serif font style, size of 16 aligned justify with color of very dark blue. Next, I am going to define another tag, called it as P. It looks like below. Once done, save this CSS file with this name, example1.css. Now we start designing a simple web page, it's shown below. Line 1. Pointed bracket HTML, a start of any web page. Line 2. Pointed brackets head, a header or a title at top of web page. Line 3. Opening the file name CSS as example 1. Line 5. Is the starting of the content or body structure of web page. Line 6. Calling a CSS procedure identified as TD. Line 7. Calling H1 tag contain in CSS file of example 1. Line 8. Calling H3 tag. Line 9. Calling P tag. Last few lines are closure of the tags for TD and body and HTML. Next terminology is called Hypertext Transfer Protocol or HTTP. It is a set of rules or protocol that needs to be obeyed by all Internet's users, especially when transferring files across the Internet. Certain security filtering system has to go through before access to a particular site is granted. Most commonly used protocol is known as SSL, or it stands for Secure Socket Layer, and another type or protocol is called encryption method. These two security measures will further covered in Chapter 8 of your textbook. Sometime an HTTP is shown in the URL address bar, at the top of the browser's window. At certain case, it is in the form of HTTPS. The letter S at the end is actually mean Oversecure by SSL. A HTTP can be seen on the browser's window, with a security tool, displayed as a small padlock icon shown on the status bar. This is also means as oversecure by SSL. The problem of SSL protocol is the speed access is rather slow. It involved the procedure of certificate authentication. However, there is a latest protocol introduced, and widely used nowadays. It is called TLS. It is using the feature of session caching, which speeds up Internet access to instant authentication procedure. The HTTPS is only applies to certain site that involved currency or financial transaction, or other sensitive data being transferred across the Internet. If you need to know more, you may refer the textbook on page 104. Terminology. What do you mean by the term, a web browser? A web browser is a software used by Internet surfers to display a web page or a website by typing in a proper web address in the URL bar. There are two main functions of a web browser. First, other than a web browser is a software used to display web pages. Second, it is also has the function to interpret or translate the HTML codes and tags. Once the tags are opened in a web browser, it will shows the actual result of information in the form of meaningful pages content. Tags are already explained under the topic of HTML. There are several features of a web browser. Number 1. It has a home page. Number 2. It has the ability to store users' favorite web pages, listed in the bookmark. Number 3. It has the ability to keep history of the websites visited recently by users. Number 4. It gives the ability to move backward or forward from page to page. What is the URL of address bar? You may refer to page 25 of your textbook. URL bar is where a user usually types in an address of a web page. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. In the URL, it has 3 parts. The front part is called the protocol used. The middle part is called the web server's name. The end or rightmost part is called the file name or the web page name. Again, other features of a web browser are: 1. The web browser translates the web server name into an IP address. And also 2. The web browser also translates the HTML code into a readable and informative web page. And 3. The web browser may allow cookies to send from the user's web browser to that specific web server. When the HTML code is executed,